Hey, it's Jeff at 650 Cycle. It's October, and I got my hat on because my head got cold today. It's been a very cold fall so far. Today, I'm in the pole barn, and I am working on an XV250 Virago project. Not this bike in particular. This is kind of my test mule. The bike I ride's in the garage, and I've been riding it, and I've been thinking, gosh, I wish I had a backrest. Gee, it'd be nice to have a rear rack on this thing. So I got thinking, processing some stuff, looking at some stuff I had, and said, I think we can do this. I got a buddy who has his own fab shop, and he has his own CNC lathe. And usually when I get into fab work, it's like, hey, can you help me out with this? He's usually really good about saying, yeah, sure, bring it over. So this is one of those projects. I pulled a rack with a backrest on it and said, hey, can we make this fit? And he goes, why don't we just make a new one? I was like, oh, I hadn't really thought about that. I'm of the mindset of take what you have and make it work. That's usually what has worked for me in the past. So this week I'm going to head over there and we're going to make a rear rack with a backrest holder for an XV250. Let me show you what I got going on so far. This is an XV250 exactly like the one I ride. I think it's a year newer, but anyways. I don't ride this one, but I decided to use this as my test mule, as my mock-up, and you can see what I got going on. I took the whole rear seat off. Let's just take that off for right now. Took the whole rear seat off, and what we have is a very handy-dandy, it's a catch for the rear seat. And I'm not sure if we're going to use it like this, where we bolt this down, or if we are going to cut tabs and make mounts to bolt onto this. It's part of the rear frame, so it is solid enough for a rack. It's not like I'm bolting it to a rear fender and expecting to hold. I'm looking at 20 pounds tops with what I have. I'm getting a rear rack, or a rear tail bag for this. I had a tail bag on a bike, loved it, it worked great. And I wasn't going to do anything to this bike. I was like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to wear the backpack. And I decided, I think that I need this. So I'm going to make the rack. This is kind of my mock-up so that when we get over there, he can see what I'm thinking. And usually what he does is he'll say, well, this is great, but what about this? What about this? Can we do this? And we'll make some changes along the way. And it'll come out way better than what I had ever intended for it to be. But as you can see, the rear seat comes to like right here, and I extended the my template out. I don't think it's obtrusive out here. It only goes out to this rear reflector. I'm using the rear mount here. I will drill a hole here or use these tabs for mounting. Depends on what he wants to do. And we're going to cut the whole thing out and then bend the sides down so that we can mount this. I found this in my stash of stuff. And I've put it up here and sat against it, and it feels like right about there is about the right spot. So I'm thinking if we just cut some holes here, then I can mess with this and get it to set where I want it to. I'm okay with all of the way all of that works. It doesn't look horrible. I don't think it looks particularly great, but I don't think it looks horrible. And I think this will just be painted black, and then this will be mounted to that, of course, and have a backrest. That is where I'm at today. It's going to be a couple days, and I'm going to go out, take all this over there and run these ideas and see what we come up with. He'll put it all into his CAD, take it out to the CNC and cut it out. We'll bend and everything that we need to do, and then I'll bring it home and give it some paint and put it on my XV, and we'll have a rear rack just in time for fall. Like I said, I am going. I have a tail bag in mind, picked out already. So that I took the dimensions off of that, and I used the whole thing as the dimensions, not thinking about this. So the tail bag's probably going to hang off about this far, so not a big deal. I'm okay with that. But I'll have a little bit of on-bike storage, and I'll have a backrest, because that's two things on this bike that I've been lacking, that I've felt like I've needed. I ride, it's like 22 miles one way. And when I get off, I'm like, my back kind of hurts because that thing has spoiled me with a backrest. So I'm going to put a backrest on mine, and we'll go from there. So I think I'm going to try to take you along with me on this project. I'll go over there. We'll film some different stuff while I'm over at his shop. and then painting, and I'm putting it all back together. So hang in there. We'll get to the good part where we're actually mounting and all of that, and see how it looks like once it's done. Alright, so I'm working on the XV250 rear rack backrest, and I was going to take you along over to Jake's and watch it cut it out on the CNC and all that, but I forgot the camera, so you don't get to see that part, but you do get to see this part. This is what we ended up coming up with, and we drilled most, or we cut most of the holes over there, and I had to put a hole down here. It's just easier that way, and then I had to drill holes out on here. I have one more hole to drill on this bracket, that front seat, that rear seat front bracket, and then that's it. And then right now I got to clean up. All the holes are cut in this, so I'm going to clean this and paint it, and we'll go from there. This is essentially how it's going to look, and I don't think it looks horrible. This bike is very utilitarian for me, so I'm fine with it being a little bit heavy, a little bit on the gaudy side, but I'm also getting a tail bag to sit on here, so you're not going to see this most of the time. I think we did all right with it. We get a little arc right there. I kind of wish it followed this a little better, but I think it's all right. Considering we were an hour and 10 minutes cutting this out, bending it, and I've been out here for, I don't know, probably not even an hour, drilling holes and getting everything hooked up. So yeah, right now it is clean and paint. This is not even the bike it's going on. It's going on that bike over there. So clean and paint. I think I'm going to drill the hole. This is what holds the front of the seat on. It's just, it's got a lip that goes under there, and then this back bolts down. So I am going to maybe I'll wait on that front, on that one even. And then what I did was I took these side bolts out. He kind of thought it was going to tilt side to side. I was like, I don't think it's going to, but just to be secure I'm running some bolts in on those sides to keep the rack going this way. No way it was going this way. More than strong enough, because this is part of the frame comes out, and it's actually for the seat to sit on, someone to sit on it. So I did it when I got those two side bolts in. I grabbed it and I said, oh, that's not going anywhere. I can't believe I just did that. Anyways, I took these bolts out of the side. They were, I'm guessing they were part of what's holding the rear fender in. There's one there and probably one there. My original intent was to put a bolt through here and hook onto that bracket that's there holding for the seat. And since I have these mounted, that's not going anywhere. So we're just going to go with that. Now I got to get the backrest on. Everything is there. I had it mocked up, and we'll go from there. Like I said, one here, and one here, and these go all the way through. I did put a spacer bolt in there, spacer nut in there, and put the backrest on now. Show you a little something. We elongated this hole so that I have a little bit of adjustability. However, right there is kind of where I want it. So I sat on the bike, leaned back where I felt like it was comfortable, and it's right there. It's kind of straight up, but that's where it falls. If I wanted that sloped look, I could take this and move it forward, but this bike is utilitarian. It is transportation. It is me getting from point A to point B as cheaply as possible. And as ridiculous as that sounds sometimes, that's what the whole goal of this bike was it gets 73 miles to the gallon. So it's a great commuter bike. It's a great around town bike. I've used it. I put 1,500 miles on it in 3 months. Since the middle of July, it's middle of October. A little over 1,500. So that's what it's for. And so I don't want something that looks awful, but I don't need something that looks fantastic. Utilitarian. From this stock look with a seat on the back, in my opinion, kind of useless. I don't know anybody who's going to ride double on this. Maybe there's people that do. I'm not ever going to do it. So from this to this, we have a backrest for my aching old back, and we have a rack on the back now instead of, in place of, the seat. It's going to work perfect for me. I will, it's October. I don't know if I'm riding this anymore this year or not. I swapped this out with the Harley because the last time I rode this earlier this week, it took me over an hour to get my fingers, the feeling back in the tips of my fingers. I got pretty good gloves, and it was cold, cold, cold. And I said, you know what? I'm going to get the Harley out. I've got the whole fairing on that. So let me just ride that the few more times I've got left this year. And so rode that this morning. It was a much, much warmer ride, I will say that. But I don't know if I'm done with this for the year or not. We'll see. Keep in mind, like I said, it is utilitarian. I will say that I'm not overly crazy about the look of it. I don't think it looks fantastic. For what it is and what we did, I think it looks good, and I think it'll work great. We actually stepped these in. Each one's a little bit smaller coming in. We set the CAD program on an angle and angled it back so that they kind of step down. Don't know if you can see that or not, but I'm pretty happy with it, and I might just go for a ride yet tonight just to check it out, just to check that backrest out and see if that is everything that I want it to be. The bike itself, I like the bike. I like riding it. Two things it needed: a backrest and a rack on the back, and now I have it. I think I am gonna go take it for a ride, and we're gonna see exactly how it works for me. So give me a minute, and I'll be right back with it. I just got back from a ride. I was at 4 miles, something like that, because it's super cold out. It works perfect. Love it. It's just the support I needed for my back. So this part works great. I will know if this part works great once I get my tail bag on it. But for now, I'm done with this part, and it has taken me away from something else that's really important that I need to do. That. I keep getting sidetracked with these things, and then I lose my focus. Anyways, this one's done. I'm not going to do anything else with this one. It sits away. It's right where it needs to be. I like it. This bike, just some general maintenance stuff before spring. Once spring's out here, I can see rolling over 10,000 miles on this, or rolling the odometer over to 10,000 next year. Right now we're at 5,400. I could easily see that. So this project is done. I have my backrest. I have my rack on the back. Once the tail bag gets here, we'll be all set. I think it'll all blend. I think it'll all look good. And once again, it's utilitarian. It is a commuter bike, and I don't want to take away too much of the look of it, because I think it has kind of a cool look and a cool stance. I think Yamaha did a really good job with that. So I'm trying not to detract too much from that, but I think that's kind of a cool addition, that little rack on the back. Kind of had to make my own. So thanks, Jake, and thanks for watching. Make sure you like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, ride safe.